Molly and I have been in the Philippines for over a month now. We have had a chance to explore in and around Cebu City and Cebu Island. I thought we'd start with a quick tour of where we are staying in the Philippines, and then show you what we've been doing to have fun. So, we are staying in Tambili Resort. There are 4 towers that have apartments, and we are staying in Tower D. Okay, I'm going to speed this up, so keep you from falling asleep. We are walking towards the main entrance from the Tambili Towers. Tambili is a gated resort, so it's very safe. It can be busy on the weekends, but it's not so busy during the week. This is the entrance to the main part of the resort. As you can see, it's a short walk from the towers. This is the main reception area, where we have to go every day to get our bands to access the rest of the resort. There's also a restaurant with a great bunch buffet. There are 5 pools in Tambili, none of which are deep. This is the first one you encounter. They have several concessions around the property. This is where you can get ice cream and a coconut. Here's the second pool, where Molly and I like to hang out on our pool days. The third pool has water slides, but they're only open a few hours a day, and you have to sign a waiver to use them. The bridge goes over the 4th pool, but they don't let you swim under the bridge. Not sure why. The 4th pool also has a swim-up bar. To the right is the Tipsy Dog Bar upstairs, and a restaurant downstairs. Both are very nice. And then we finally get to the beach. Very nice beach area. Got actually 2 beaches, one to the left and one to the right. And you can actually use some pool toys, not pool toys, but like kayaks and things like that. There's actually also some parasailers out there too.
Thought I'd give you a better view of the gym. We can actually rent bikes. I don't know if I want to take one of those out in town. Kind of dangerous. They actually will cook you pizzas in a stone oven over here.
The gym is decent, with free weights, machines, and cardio equipment.
Thank you guys. There's a lot of work. I promise you. You can see the towers. Ours is one of the back towers, but it actually still has a good view of the vision.
Finally, we have pool number 5. This is a lap pool, which Molly and I like to use. And now we're back to the towers. More specifically, our tower, Tower D. We live on the 10th floor, on the far side with a great view of the ocean. In the evenings, we often get to see other hotels' light shows and fireworks. It really is a great view. Molly and I have spent many of our days here just relaxing for the first time in a long time. Pool day is one of our favorite things to do. Though we do cook a lot of our own meals, we do enjoy dining at the restaurants every once in a while. One of the reasons we were so excited about coming to the Philippines was to connect with the other HH owners that were here already in the Philippines. These have been great connections that have helped us learn not only about our boat and HH, but also about simply living here in the Philippines. One of the things Molly and I have tried to do is take cooking classes everywhere we go. So Molly booked a cooking class here in the Philippines to learn the local dishes. This is how we met Nashan, which goes by Sean, and his cousins Philip and the driver, which we didn't catch his name. They taught us how to cook lumpia, chicken adobo, a sour fish soup, and a local coconut milk vegetable dish. We also got to taste halo-halo, which means sweet sweet for dessert. Sean and Philip learned to cook these meals from their mothers and grandmothers, which don't speak much English. so Sean and Philip teach the cooking classes. They also taught us about lots of local customs, including how they serve alcoholic drinks. When serving alcoholic drinks, you don't just pour a drink for someone and hand them the glass to keep. It is expected that when you are poured a drink, you need to drink it right away and hand the glass back. The gunner pours the drinks for everyone and waits for the glass back to pour the next drink for the next person. After cooking the feast, we got to fill our bellies with the delicious dishes we just made. Since taking the class, we have made almost all the dishes we learned how to make during the class back at our apartment. Molly and I have also found a local church to attend, Santo Niño de Cebu, Mactan. This is not to be confused with Santo Niño de Cebu, which is in Cebu City proper. Church is packed every Sunday. You need to get there early to get a seat. Also, there is no air conditioning, so it is best to bring a hand fan, because shorts and anything showing your shoulders is not permitted in church. Molly and I enjoy coffee and donuts after church. Well, Molly enjoys the coffee, and I enjoy the donuts. Luckily, we found a perfect spot walking distance from the church. We ran into some Filipino Coast Guard folks one Sunday after church, so I could not resist getting a picture with them. Molly and I did some exploring on our own in Cebu City when we first arrived, and learned that walking around the city can be quite an adventure unto itself. The sidewalks are hit or miss, and the traffic can be crazy.
And we're off.
Though there are crossing guards in front of the schools, we found the best way to cross the street was as the local schoolgirls did, and in a pack, and simply putting your hand out to the oncoming cars to stop them. One thing that stood out to me was the local utilities. You can see the numerous wires that are strung on the telephone poles. How they determine which one goes where is beyond me. Turns out every Saturday at Tambuli Resort, they do a foam party in the pool with a swim-up bar during happy hour. They do this at the same time they have a Zumba class in the same pool. So it all meshes into a Zumba foam pool party for their cheap drinks.
Get some of this. I want to put some of my head into it.
Since we enjoyed the cooking class with Sean and Philip so much, we then did a walking tour of Cebu with them. First thing they taught us about was a public transportation system they called jeepneys. Each jeepney has a particular route that it takes, like a bus. The route of the jeepney is painted on the side, the front, and the back of each jeepney. They also have numbers on them that designate the route.
You see the small cart? Yeah. Those are the routes of the jeepneys.
Okay.
Okay. So you have to know.
Yeah, where you're going to.
Yeah, where you're going.
Yeah. Or you can ask the driver as well.
Okay.
Just watch her just doing it.
Okay.
For like all the passengers get this out.
Okay.
Most of the jeepneys accommodate about 20 people, but like a bus, you can stuff in as many people as will fit. Sometimes people will hang off the back.
Because the history of the jeepney, I guess Philip already told you about the history, but just to inform you, before it was left by the Americans after the World War II. So during the World War II, Americans brings a lot of military truck before. So after the World War II, they just left everything here. So we Filipinos, we're resourceful. We don't want anything go to waste. So we decided to length up the chassis of the military trucks.
Yeah.
Then we put the roofings like this. Then we put the seating arrangement as well like this. And then we use it as a public transportation. Because back then we don't have any mode of transportation. Passing your fare. So it's up to you if you're gonna give your fare along the way to your routes, or the moment you step in, or the moment you step out.
Okay.
It's up to you as long as you give the fare.
Okay.
How much is the fare all the same?
Oh yeah, 13 pesos. Yeah, we're gonna give the fare. Yeah,
Okay.
Right there. So this is how you punch the fare. You just have to give it to the person next to you. And then pass it up. Yeah, pass it up. Pwede ba yan? We call it another system because
Is
the
it
driver.
always the same price?
No. From 1 kilometer to 4 kilometers, the minimum fare is 13 pesos.
Okay.
For the adding kilometers, it will be added 1 pesos.
Okay.
But right now, we're under the 4 kilometers. We are only paying 13 pesos each.
When you want to get off the jeepney, you tap a coin on the overhead bar or make a kissing sound. The driver will then pull over and let you out right away. After a short walk, our next stop was to sample Cebu's famous street food. Inside the building, each table was a different food vendor. Though they were all selling the same foods, you got to pick your favorite vendor by sitting down at their table. We got to sample local lumpia, fried carrots, pork intestines, stuffed crab, and pork sausage. Of course, you have to eat with your hands. We then visited the oldest house in Cebu, which was built by a Chinese merchant 351 years ago. The house has survived through typhoons and earthquakes, which have destroyed even modern buildings in Cebu.
Originally built by Chinese workers, so that's why it was built so hard that can last for like a couple of centuries.
Yes.
So the rooftops are made out of clay pots and the beams and stuff.
Oh yeah, look at the clay pots.
Mostly by the Chinese.
Wow.
Maybe because of the structure of the woods, that's why even
The oldest street in the Philippines. Wow.
On the way to our next landmark, we walked by the oldest street in the Philippines. This street was used even before Magellan arrived. Granted, there were no cars at that time. Sean and Philip then took us to a monument that depicted Magellan's arrival in the Philippines during his circumnavigation of the globe and his quest to convert the Filipinos into Christianity. It also depicts Lapu-Lapu, the Mactan Island chief that fought Magellan and his men, killing Magellan and keeping the Europeans away from the Philippines for 45 years. Philip and Sean then brought us to the Cebu Metropolitan Cathedral, the seat of the Archdiocese of Cebu. This is one of the first churches built in the Philippines, back in 1565. It has been added to over the years as it was built into cathedral. During World War II, much of the church was destroyed by Allied bombings, with only the belfry, facade, and walls remaining. It was rebuilt in 1950 to what you see today. Not far from the Cebu Metropolitan Cathedral is the biggest tourist attraction in Cebu, Santo Niño Basilica, the oldest church in the Philippines, and not to be confused with the Santo Niño Church that Milo and I attend on Mactan Island. It is also home of Magellan's Cross. Santo Niño was built on the place where the original image of the child Jesus, Santo Niño, was presented by Magellan to the chief consort of Raja Hamabon on the occasion of the royal baptism in 1521. Magellan's Cross, which is situated just outside Santo Niño Basilica, is the original cross that Magellan planted when he arrived in the Philippines in 1521. It is now protected by a pavilion. It can only be observed through the middle bars. The red things you see on the floor are candles that pilgrims and others throw into the pavilion as a prayer offering. Over 5 million people will visit Magellan's Cross in a year, and there can be as many as 1 million candles inside the pavilion, which will fill up the pavilion all the way to the base of the middle bars. Sean and Philip then took us to the biggest night market in Cebu City. It's called a night market because it's open all night from 4 p.m. till 5 a.m. the next morning. During the day, the streets are used for jeepneys, but no other traffic.
Then we're going to have the balut.
Sean also showed us balut, a Filipino delicacy, which is a fertilized duck egg with a partially formed chick in the egg.
What are you looking for?
That's the number of days.
16, yeah, number of days. So
Yeah,
there are two
yeah.
types of balut. We have the this one. It has the chick inside, and this one is like a pure egg. But the egg white and the egg yolk was mixed already.
Okay.
The egg is boiled and eaten straight from the shell. He offered for us to try the balut, but we politely declined, so he ate one to show us how you eat it.
Are you sure you don't want to try?
Yeah. I'm
No,
sure.
we can't do that. Can I? No.
So when you're eating balut, you have to drink the soup first.
Sometimes we call it chick's urine.
Then you have to open it. Just say hi to the baby chick.
And then the embryo or the fetus.
Light blue?
Oh, yeah.
Philip can finish around 4 of these.
4.
Yeah, my minimum is only 2.
Okay.
It's because it's high in cholesterol, so you need to like balance it.
Uh-huh.
That's why they
I would
have
need
super spicy vinegar. And there's the chili
You have
oil.
to put a little bit of
A little salt on it? Okay.
salt on it, and then we're gonna put vinegar.
Okay.
These are vinegars.
I would need 6 liters of rum.
Yeah.
Alright.
That's the egg yolk.
That's the yolk. Yeah,
The
okay.
egg white. And this is the egg white. It's very chewy.
Alright. Interesting.
This is the egg yolk. The egg white.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
Oh, yeah.
You don't like that part?
Hello, my faces.
Ah.
So some of the locals do love if it is more older.
A little older than, yeah, a little more mature.
So imagine how big is the chick.
Uh-huh.
I think you already saw how to eat it in front of you, right?
Yes, I appreciate that.
We then walk through the night market to see all the different vendors. Vendors come from the towns around Cebu City to sell their wares. Because it takes time for the vendors to travel to Cebu, the market is at night. It's also a lot cooler in the evening. The color of the fresh fruits and vegetables is amazing.
Yeah.
This is also where Sean and Philip purchased the produce we used during the cooking class.
So that one right there is a type of banana. We call saba banana. It's the one that they use in making banana ketchup.
Banana ketchup?
Yeah.
Mhm.
We then stopped at a rice cake vendor to sample the coconut rice flour cake street food. It was cooked over a charcoal fire wrapped in banana leaves. It was sweet and amazingly good.
And then they actually cook it in a natural
charcoal,
microwave
yeah.
oven.
So it is made out of rice flour and coconut milk.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
The sticky rice.
Uh-huh.
Sticky rice and
How do you eat it? You just
No,
bite into it?
just take out the banana leaves
yeah,
and
just
then
take out
eat.
like this one
Yep.
and just go there.
Okay. Is it hot? Hot.
No, not bad.
Feels hot.
I really like it because it is soup in a.
Yeah, I'm good.
They're,
I like the sweet, the
they're
coconut.
using the coconut husk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, that is good. The coconut, I like that.
Yeah. And it's really perfect when you partner it with coffee, especially when you eat it in the
Coffee.
morning with coffee. And this is where we're gonna.
Our last stop on the tour of Cebu was an indoor market where we are going to taste lushan. Cebu is famous for its lushan, which is a whole spit roasted pig stuffed with aromatic herbs. Once you get past the whole pig lying in front of you, it's actually quite tasty.
So what we're gonna do?
After exploring Cebu City, Mo and I decided to explore more of Cebu Island. Molabola is a smaller city on the southwest side of Cebu Island that is famous for snorkeling with sardine balls. But first we had to get there. After an hour grab ride, think Uber, to the South Cebu bus terminal, we had to take an over 4-hour bus ride to Molabola. Yes, taking a car to Molabola would have been much faster. It would have also cost about 10 times as much, and we would have missed the experience of riding on the bus. Since there wasn't any food or drink on the bus would allow local vendors to hop on and off the bus in order to sell food to the passengers along the ride. There were also no toilets on the bus, and the bus only stopped once to let passengers off the bus to use the toilets, so you had to be mindful of what you ate and drank on the bus. Once we got to Molabola, we had to take a tuk-tuk to our hotel. A tuk-tuk is a motorcycle with a large sidecar attached to the bike. Yes, Kyle, that is a Canadian flag sticker in the tuk-tuk. When we finally made it to our hotel, it was time for a drink and some food. We stayed at the Gecko Beachfront Restaurant and a hotel, which sounds like it's right on the water. The restaurant was on the beach, but the hotel is a few blocks walk from the restaurant and not on the beach. Clever advertising. The next morning, we were up early to snorkel with the sardines. We booked a guide, which I recommend for your first dive with the sardines. Not only did he show us where to snorkel, but also used my GoPro to film our dives. He also arranged for us to pay the fee to snorkel at Molabola. Turns out, you must pay a 200 peso fee, about $3, to snorkel at Molabola. As long as you don't have a mask on, or goggles, you can swim without paying. But if you get caught with a mask or goggles without paying, you get hit with a significant fine. Snorkeling with the sardines was truly amazing. You don't have to dive deep to get up close and personal with the sardine balls, especially if you go in the morning when the sardines are in the shallow water. There's plenty of other sea life in the shallow water that you can see, including sea turtles and clownfish. That afternoon, Molly and I signed up to hike Osima Peak, the highest point on Cebu Island. However, getting to the hike required an hour motorcycle ride. So putting our lives into the hands of complete strangers, we set out on our hour ride. Molly and I had ridden on the back of my brother's motorcycle through LA traffic, so we thought we knew what we were getting ourselves into. Granted, that was over 30 years ago. At least in LA, there are traffic laws that most people follow. I don't think there are any traffic laws in the Philippines, except you have to wear a helmet, no matter how poorly it fits. Holding on for dear life as we sped up the mountain, I remember thinking to myself, at least it's not raining. After the mountain to the hike, it started to rain. And when I say rain, I mean torrential rain. We had to pull off the side of the road 3 times to step up the mountain. At long last, we made it to Osmina Mountain and got to stretch our legs with a hike up to the peak. We were required to hire a guide for the hike. Our guide was a 20-year-old local girl wearing Crocs. That said, she walked up the mountain to the peak like a mountain goat, putting us both to shame as we were gasping for air.
Oh, wow.
When we made it to the peak, the views were amazing. Osmina Peak is in the center of Cebu Island on the east-west axis, so you could see from the west coast of Cebu Island to the east coast of Cebu Island, just from the peak. All too soon, we were headed back down the mountain, back to Molabola. The ride back seemed a little less scary, maybe because we had been desensitized after a ride up the mountain. In the end, we made it safely back to Molabola and had a great adventure. We have now experienced all the forms of transportation in the Philippines. I would not necessarily recommend taking the motorcycle unless you are an adrenaline junkie. The next morning, Molly and I got up early again to snorkel with the sardines, this time without a guide. Molly had done some research about a mermaid statue that was close to shore and near the sardine bowls. With Molly's research and a little luck, we found it and got to enjoy the sardine balls again. After cleaning up from our snorkel with sardines, we had a great breakfast in one of the many cafes in Molabola, and then started our trek back to Tambula. On the way down to Molabola, we waited for the bus with air conditioning. On the way back, we decided to take the first bus that came. The first bus turned out to be a non-air conditioned bus, so we hopped on. How bad could it be?
This is the air conditioning. Gotta love it.
For me, sitting in the window seat, the bus ride was bearable. But Molly and I will probably wait for the air-conditioned bus next time we go for a 4+ hour bus ride. Eventually, we made it back to the South Cebu bus terminal, and then had to grab a grab right back to Tambula. After a long day of travel, we were back at a resort where we could take a vacation from our vacation and plan our next adventure. Molly and I have only scratched the surface of what there is to do in the Philippines, and are looking forward to even more adventures. We are eagerly awaiting completion of Flame. We've been back to the factory several times, and she is already out of the test pools and getting ready for her launch into the ocean.